All right, today we're diving into a tool that has absolutely revolutionized how the best poker players in the world study the game. We're going to break down exactly how you can use PioSolver to take those moments of doubt at the table and turn them into pure mathematical confidence. Come on, we've all been there, right? You're done with a session, you're looking back at a huge pivotal hand, and you're just staring at the screen asking yourself this exact question. Did I make the right bluff? Was that a terrible call? That feeling of not knowing, it can drive you crazy. But what if the answer wasn't just some other player's opinion or a gut feeling? What if it was a cold, hard, mathematical truth? Well, that's exactly the promise of a GTO solver, and it's what PioSolver delivers. It's all about replacing guesswork with genuine certainty. So, here's our game plan. We're going to start with that core question every player has. Then we'll get into the GTO answer machine itself. We'll walk through the 5-step process for using it, learn how to actually read what it's telling you, and then, crucially, how to take that theory to a real table. And finally, we'll talk about building a study habit that actually works.
You know, every serious player hits a point where feel just isn't enough anymore. To really crush it and compete against the best, you have to know why a play is the right one. And that means you have to move away from just guessing and into a world of mathematical confidence.
And this is the tool that gets you there. So, what on earth is PioSolver? Think of it as the gold standard software for calculating perfect poker strategy. It's not just some simple odds calculator. It's a full-blown GTO answer machine. PioSolver is built around this incredible concept, game theory optimal, or GTO. Let's put that in plain English. It's a perfectly balanced way to play. If you play a GTO strategy, it literally doesn't matter what your opponent does, they cannot exploit you. The only thing they can do is make mistakes against you. This is the foundation of elite poker. And just look at the difference in firepower here. A basic calculator can tell you your pot odds. Pretty simple stuff. PioSolver, on the other hand, shows you the expected value, the EV, of every single possible action you can take. It tells you exactly how often to bet or check, and it even lets you figure out how to exploit specific players. I mean, it is a completely different universe of analysis. Okay, so it's super powerful, but how do you actually use it? It can look pretty intimidating at first, I get it. But the pros all follow a really simple, repeatable workflow. It's a clear roadmap that takes you from one confusing hand history to a massive strategic breakthrough. And here's what it looks like. It's just 5 steps. First, you obviously pick the hand you want to study. Second, and this is a big one, you set the preflop ranges, which are all the possible hands you and your opponent could have. Third, you set up the tree, which just means you tell it what bet sizes are possible. Fourth, you click the button and let it run. And fifth, the most important part, you dig into the results and find that winning edge. Now, I really want to pause on this because if you take one thing away from this whole explainer, let it be this. That second step, setting the preflop ranges, it's everything. If you put in unrealistic, garbage ranges for your opponent, the answer the solver gives you is going to be complete garbage too. It's as simple as that. Garbage in, garbage out. All right, so you've run the solve, and now you're looking at this grid of colors and numbers. This isn't just a bunch of random data, it's a treasure map. The real skill is learning how to read that map to find the gold, those key insights that are actually going to make you more money. The first step is just some basic color coding. Generally, green means passive plays, like checking or calling. Red and orange, that's your aggression, betting or raising. Blue is for folding. And when you see a square that's a mix of colors, that's the solver telling you to mix up your play. And that leads us to probably the single biggest point of confusion for anyone new to solvers. You see a hand that says you should bet it 2/3 of the time, but check it 1/3 of the time. So what, are you supposed to roll a dice at the table? The answer is a huge no. The goal isn't to perfectly randomize one single hand. It's all about being balanced across your entire range of hands. See, to be unexploitable, the solver needs you to bet with some of your hands in this spot and check with others. Your specific hand is just one small piece of that much bigger puzzle. But here's the real secret weapon for learning: aggregation reports. Instead of just looking at one hand on one board, this feature lets you analyze hundreds of different boards all at once. And what this does is reveal the underlying patterns, like how you should play on dry, disconnected boards versus wet, coordinated ones. This is how you stop memorizing and start building real, deep intuition. So GTO is your unbreakable baseline strategy. But let's be real, the people you play against are not perfect GTO robots. They make mistakes. They have leaks. So the next level of studying with a solver is about moving beyond pure theory and learning how to actively exploit the real players you're up against. And the feature for this is called node locking. You start with the perfect GTO solution, but then let's say you know your opponent folds way too often on the river. You can actually lock that mistake into the solver. It will then recalculate the perfect counter strategy, showing you exactly how to exploit that weakness. It's the bridge from playing defense to playing offense. Look, just owning a powerful tool like this doesn't automatically make you a better player. Real improvement comes from consistent, focused work. So, how do you turn all this cool theory into a practical study habit that gets you real results? It looks something like this. You do a little bit every day, just 20, 30 minutes solving a few key hands from your last session. Then, once a week, you do a deeper dive, maybe an hour or so on one specific situation. And then, once a month, you zoom out, review your exploitative models, and see if your assumptions about your opponents are still right. It's a system, a routine for getting better. And as you build that habit, just try to avoid these common traps. We've already hammered home the bad ranges point. Also, don't oversimplify your bet sizes in the tree, or you'll get bad answers. And remember, the goal is to understand the why, not just memorize what to do. And finally, never forget that GTO is the starting point, not the end. The real money comes from exploiting your opponent's mistakes. When it comes right down to it, the thing that separates the absolute best from everybody else is that they aren't guessing. They have a system. They have a framework for finding the right play almost every time. They have a roadmap. So the question is, now that you've seen what that roadmap looks like, are you going to build yours?